Hey, Lo, how you guys doing? There we go. I gotta get a sip of my drink. Good stuff. Okay, let's start up our our training a little bit. This is the King's Indian variation of the London system. London system. So remember that if you're going to do the London system, d4, knight f6, knight f3. If he plays there, bishop f4, and then e3, castles, bishop e2, d6, castle kingside, and then knight bd2. There's also a line where knight h5, bishop g5, because we don't want to trade off our knight in that line. I mean our bishop in this. Our bishop's better here than there. There, g. And remember, knight fd2, and if he takes here, you can actually take there and you fractured his pawn. So keep that in mind when he deals in the King's Indian, okay? That if he plays here, you play bishop g5 because that attacks here. If he plays f6, you retreat back. If he plays here, what do? Exactly, you play knight d2. And this is a vital. If he takes, then you take here. And look how horrible the structure for black is. But if h3, bishop h, g5, knight d, knight fd2, and then if our opponent takes, then we take here, and e5 is a mistake here. Pawn takes, and then e4. This is a vital move right here. If you're wondering why did he push e4, this makes this bishop like a tall pawn. Remember when we talked about Jeremy Silman? This makes this bishop a tall pawn. So here makes this bishop bad. Okay, I'll do that so that you know why, and then here I'll put this so that you'll know that why it's bad. In this line, f5 is actually a better move here. f4, e5, and then c3. This is kind of like a stone wall, but with a good stone wall, because we in the stone wall our dark squared bishop was actually bad. So we don't have a dark squared bishop here anymore, so this is actually beneficial for us. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Play the grub. How's it going? We're going over the London system, the King's Indian right now. We're just going over some sublines because it's always good to get a refresher. Hey, how you doing? Oh, a little bit. Hey, you gotta switch it up. You gotta switch it up a little bit. We actually I did this study like several months ago, and I just thought, you know what? There's some good games out there, but there's nothing that beats going over a study. Sometimes, you know, you got to mix it up a little bit, especially when you're training. You have to train for success. And the best way to do it is by using studies. Yeah. That was good. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay, h3. This we went over the line, and I'll go over it one more time. If you guys have already seen it, I apologize, but I wanted to show you that this is a vital move so that you don't get tricked. This is a very interesting subline that your opponent might throw at you, and we'll go over it one more time, and then we'll start into h3 after this line. Here. Remember, if he goes g5, don't worry about it. Retreat your knight df2. Knight df2. And the whole thing is, if your opponent at this point retreats back here, you can just drop your bishop back. If he takes, you know what, you've acquired a very important, as they say, tempo, and you've fractured his king side, so he's going to have vulnerable points. But if he moves his knight back, which I've actually seen this happen before, you just do a subtle g3, and there's really nothing that your opponent can do. Now he's got so much air along these spots here that the bishop's guarding that, I understand, but I'm just saying though, if the bishop wasn't here, these are so weak spots. This is still defended, but only by a pawn. So if you were able to do like some sort of sweet sacrifice and get rid of the f7 pawn, these are all the squares that are juicy for your knights to jump in to. And so that's why usually your opponents will take. But in that process, they've doubled pawns, which now their king is open to the world. So then you just take the knight, and yes, you've lost your bishop here, but in the process, the king side, his king side is so fractured that it's unbelievably horrible. And then you take here. If he takes, remember that e4 is a vital move here. e4 is big. This locks down, and the reason I put a circle on this makes this on the bishop. This makes this bishop basically obsolete. The only way the bishop could get into participation is via two moves, actually three moves. It would have to be a rook over. Rook would have to come over here, bishop would come there, and then that's the only way that you can get your bishop involved. Otherwise, it's staring at a soldier who is blocking its shot. So the only way to get the bishop to be a good bishop, again, is to actually move it to another post. But by moving it to, like, let's say c5, now you've made it a target with knight b3. So, and then another knight can slip in via there or up here. You know, there's a whole bunch of different ways. But the whole idea of e4 is to make this bishop obsolete for at least 3 moves. So you, with one move, you gain 3 moves. Okay, now that we've done that, castle, we castled, knight bd7, and then h3 is what we're looking at right now. In this line, if knight h5, Gadakomsky was the one who actually kind of brought back h3. Sometimes it's not as effective, but you could potentially go h4. It's not as effective as if you're wanting to play more positional. You don't want to really risk much. H3 is your basically goodie move. But if you want to kind of be a little aggressive, h4 is a really good move too. But you're provoking h5 here, so you have to remember h5 is going to be played. But that does allow a nice outpost on g5 for us, so our knight could go to g5. That's true. Some players are positional, like Karpov's positional. He became the world champion, so if you have a that's true. But yeah, at a certain point though, you have to be flexible. You have to be super duper flexible. So Yeah, and that's one thing that the supers do have. They can Fabi can go positionally if he needs to. Magnus can. Hikaru Nakamura can. Um, MVL, Levon, Shaq can. Karyakin, Kramnik could as well. Gary can. Let me see who else. I'm trying to think. Ding Lauren can go positional or attacking. Um, Wesley So could as well. Trying to think. Did I name everybody that? Well, I gotta say Duda is really good positionally too, so he could play. And Sam is doing good too. The U.S. Champion, Sam Shanklin. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. I couldn't have said it better. That's actually that's right on 100% because you have to remember that if you're in a to jump from 2200 to 2500, you have to become more positional attacking. You look for the right moment to attack, but trust me, it's pretty tough when you're facing those bigger players. You have to sometimes go positional and just make sure that you don't make any inaccurate moves. And you just got to keep pushing forward. And like what you're saying, you kill the counterplay of your opponent, and eventually you squeeze them until they break. But this is more of what H4 would breed rather than H3. H4 would bring more of a H5 variation. If you played H4, H5 would be played. So H3 was played in this game here. Queen E8. This is so that we can get E5. If you're wondering why Queen E8 was played, this is E5 so that they can push on through with E5. That's the idea. And this also helps with C5 potential breaks because you don't really want the queen on the open file. So we played C4 and E5 is played here. So we retreat our bishop back to H2. You could actually have tried to stop the count. You could have tried to stop the counterplay, but by stopping it with like D5, you do relieve this. You do give black the whole dark squared bishop. So this move, in my opinion, isn't a good move. It's a mistake. I'm going to give it a mistake symbol. I don't really think it's worth that. I think it's a mistake or an inaccurate move. C4 is more of a practical positional move because you're wanting to provoke actually E5. And at the right moment, you're wanting that. So like if when E5 comes into play, bishop H2, if your opponent did take here and you took, you have a potential bind in the center, more central dominance. So you control a lot of here. We are missing the control of these, not this, but this square here. So, but I'm not too worried about that. These two, the D4 and C4 pawns are more than adequate to stop the counterplay of our opponent. And that's why that's why they didn't play this. So I would give this a mistake as well. I'd give this a question mark because I don't think it's it's good. I don't think it's good. I don't like that move. It's not dubious because dubious would be basically pushing or moving the knight or something. It's a mistake to do that. Okay, Queen E7 is pretty interesting. If knight to c3. This is in my opinion, I approve of this move really much, because I like how it controls a lot of the vital central squares, and we're preparing to actually push onward with d5 here. And in theory, we'll get our knights more centralized. So I looked at that move and I liked it. e4 is okay. They're saying that potentially rook e8 is more practical in some play, because you don't really need to rush e4. Once you've done that, your pawn is fixed. See, e4 is a permanent problem. We can actually at that point play knight d7, d2 and double attack that, and then potentially later on bring our queen to bishop to c2. I mean queen c2. And then we have 3 attackers. It's going to be pretty difficult for black to handle that type of an attack. And now, how is black going to break through for his bishop here? This is a very horrible position. And when we play here, if he tries this move here, which is d5, bad idea, very bad, because you can actually at this point take, and he can't take back because only one is attacking. And we'll look at that study in just a sec. So this move, I'd give it a double question. I'd call it a blunder. I'd actually call that move a blunder if somebody did play it. This is a slight mistake here. It's not a good move. Knight b5, exclam. You're talking, play the grub, you were talking about tactics. There's your tactic right there. Oh, it is? Exactly. That's the killer move. I like that. I was like, well, yeah. When I saw that, I was like, somebody's playing tactics the way we like it. That's a double. That's a fork or a double attack right there. So the queen has to. We made the queen passive. You gotta love it when you could do that. When you can make the queen passive, you know you're on the right track for victory. c5, and now we're just gonna explode the center open. It's gonna be like kaboom. a5, a6, and then we're like, are you? Or they were saying this. Are you serious? Kawam, and then they take, and then boom. And we've sacked a knight for 2 pawns, but look at this pawn. Yeah, this is like just devastating. I remember seeing a game very similar to this. Gary was playing somebody, and he played the London system. It was in How to Play the London System, and he actually had it came down to a bishop and knight versus like 2 rooks or something like that, and he still beat him because of how strong the c7 pawn was. The c7 pawn neutralized everything. He was able to actually get the pawns off to the king side. Both, I meant pawns, the rooks. Both the rooks were over here, and it was funny. He got a bishop here, and he stuck a knight there. They had to trade off both the rooks for all this, and he emerged a bishop up and ended up winning. It was incredible of a game. How he handled the London system was amazing in that setup. I was like, whoa. Talk about some big time damage when Gary did it in his glory years. I forgot the name of the game. It was in How to Play the London System. It was one of his games. It was a pretty good one. I'll have to take a look and look that one up. But Gary did play the London System. It was actually in a YouTube. I believe it was a YouTube one that somebody went over. I don't think I have it in here. It might not be in Play the London System, but I watched him play it on a YouTube account. And not him, but I mean somebody go over it. That's what I mean. And they went over the game, and it was like, wow. It was pretty impressive. That's why I said it reminded me of something like this when the c pawn was on c7, how destructive that pawn can actually be and how important it is, positionally and tactically. So e7 there, and wham. So there's 3 pawns. We got 3 pawns for the piece, and now we got an anchored pawn on c7 for a while. This is going to cause a lot of chaos in the back rank of black. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for him to get any coordination. Knight c4. Let's say a drink. Okay, coordination is huge in chess. But if you can find, that game that was on the YouTube, I haven't watched it in a while, but it reminded me of that. It's so worth going over it, because the way Gary handled the London system in that setup was really impressive in my opinion. So if you wanted to see a really well played London system setup, Gary did it. Queen d5. A4. So all the greats have played the London system, even Magnus Carlsen did. So it's not, as Ginger would say, a opening for somebody who just, he always just does the joke of a grandpa with slippers. He does that one on his thing. Nope, it's not a dull opening, the London system. It has positional bones sometimes, but if your opponent slips up anytime in the opening, you can really take advantage of that and potentially set up a Greek sacrifice. And who doesn't love a Greek sacrifice? You know, you can show it your friends that. Knight e8. Let's see how we doing. Perfect. It's only 42. Alrighty. Queen c3. This is a really strong move because this cements the threat. Our idea, yeah. Maybe it might be. I may. Hold on. I'll have to check that in just a second. I think it may be that one. I'm not sure. I can't verify yet. Let me see. Just give me 1 sec. I'll just check it really quick. Hold on. Put it on AFK just a sec. Just hold on. Let me see. Come on. Well, I'll have to look at it. I'll have to look at it later and see. For some reason, it's not coming up, so I want to. We have to keep moving forward on our studies. I was just gonna see if it was, but I'll save it. I'll put it right there so that we have it. So I got it. I'm pretty sure it might be yeah.
If it were easy to make money in the stock market, everybody'd be doing.
What the heck? Oops. Sorry about that. 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, it's something very similar to that. It's a very similar to that, but a different streamer. But yeah, I did look at that. Yeah, something very similar to that. Okay, oops, sorry about that. Let us continue. I gotta make sure the stream's going good. Perfect. Perfect. Alrighty. 95. Now, the reason this move was good, that back here I wanted to show you. Bishop c3 was a good idea. I mean, I'm the bishop, sorry, queen c3. I have the bishop on the brain because I want to get this bishop involved. But the queen protects this pawn, also prepares b4. The knight could come in here, protects, double protects there. So this is really strong move, has a lot of facets of ideas behind it. Knight ef6, e5 is very critical. Knight e5, bishop there, c4. This is so that if our opponent trades off, we would actually be able to skewer the queen, so he can't trade here. This is actually a if there was a triple question mark, it would be that, in my opinion. So knight bd7, queen b3, knight f6, and this is he's trying to get some counterplay with his rooks via down that way, but we take care of that easily. We just grab the pawn, I mean the knight. That's a double exclam, and then b5. If the queen takes, that would be a mistake here, because rook takes a, and then he surrenders the open file. Very bad move, and it's going to potentially be a big time sitch on his back rank, like e6, a7. Now this bishop's weak, and the only way to hold the bishop is e8, knight a5, knight b6, c5, bishop takes, knight takes b7, and if the bishop took, of course, you guys see what would happen. Wham, the rook's gone, so bishop can't take there. E7, knight a5, and so we now have 4 passers, and really there's nothing that our opponent could do. So taking would be a double question mark, losing. I'd almost say triple. Bishop g3, rook f a6, and this is to, if we can get our pawns connected like that, we have a pretty good chance of just crushing our opponent, and we're just squeezing till there's nothing left. Because it's really nice to only have to protect it with one piece instead of like 2. This pawn would do its job, which would free up our rook and queen, so that'd be nice. a5. Now we are putting a bind on the rook. Yeah, this is this rook is in trouble. That's covered, that's covered, that's covered, that's covered. So the rook has to the rook, I could stay there because it's protected, but it still has no squares to flee to. And the next idea would be b4, and now we're just squeezing. That's kind of why I like this this one type of setup here, and that it's about squeezing. I like being an attacker, but sometimes, you know what, you have to switch to positional, and Karpov was known for his positional squeeze, and at the right moment when you made a mistake, he dropped a tactic on you like a bad habit, and you basically resign at that point. Bishop h2, knight, queen f5, and this is where we want to actually explode now, open the f file to get more protection on e4. This idea is to go f3 with the rook. f3 is a vital importance of moves, because now what will happen is we can, if he takes, which is a mistake, we would actually be able to then double up along the f file. So he's not going to do that. So if he took there, it'd be a blunder. This is almost losing in my opinion. Potentially close to losing, because you can't give up anything. Rook G8, and we're not ready to take yet, and we don't really need to take. So we just need to. He had to give his kings, I mean his rook, some squares to move. Otherwise, his position is totally clamped down, where there's no hope of ever any counterplay. So that's why G5 was played, if you were wondering. Rook takes, and now we're if he checks, if the queen checked on C1, we just move our king up. So Queen C3, D6. This now cemented our advantage, and I'm almost thinking that black should resign here. There's almost like no hope. At this point, it's resignable. E3, because what's going to happen is we are going to cement our position again with E5, and what can he really do? There's nothing. And then at the right moment, we can actually break when we get our rook involved. We can break the F file right on open and just go in like there's no tomorrow. Smack. Yeah, we're so well positioned here. I know I said positional twice, but this is such a great position for white that white can actually even do an exchange sacrifice and still be winning because of this move here. The tactic mod, and the opponent resigned at this point, because what's he gonna do? There's no this is totally resignable. This rook can't get involved. This bishop, if it moves, is in quagmire of a problem, because if this bishop ever moves, actually we're gonna have to move the rook, so then that would be taken. At this point, E5 would be played here, and I gotta say the squeeze has, oh yeah, this is just devastating. And at this point, I'm gonna put a only move here, and then this was the start with ideas, so that's a start with ideas. But I'm just showing you how devastating this type of an attack is. And then you have a rook to boot. It's like, if the queen tries something, we'll say like queen here, you have a and then now this is coming to pass, and if that happens, you can actually play something like that. And so, and probably rather than move the king to h2, probably there, and then if the queen takes, you got to be careful here. I understand. You probably at this point, if here, you're probably going to want to potentially trade down. You wouldn't want to let the your opponent have any inkling of hope. And if he trades at this point, then you're winning. He may try something like that. So and I'd probably take out at this point. I'm not sure what black would do, so I'll just leave it here. What about bishop e6? I mean queen e6. I'm sure knight to b was chosen, and after takes, you're gonna drop. You have so much that even if he tries this, you're gonna drop a piece This right here is a potential, and then here, and what really can your opponent do at that point? Both of them are going to queen. This is going to queen. So he might even at this point have to sack his rook for the knight. He might even have to sack that. And then try his best to hold with his two bishops. But I doubt after rook c5 he can hold, because you can actually potentially play there, and if takes here, this is losing. So you have so much. So I don't know if even if there's hope there. It is worth a whole rook. Because the rook really can't stop it. The rook can't stop it. So it's like, huh. So at this point, we will, let's see if all the gangs here, yep, they're all here. Let's start into our puzzle training now. Let's do it to it. There we go. This is interesting. Let's see here. We have the knight pinned. Trying to figure out what can we actually play here. Maybe queen b6. I don't, queen b6 to c5, c4. I mean, not queen b6. Knight b6 to c4. What do you guys think? I'm thinking knight b6. If king, I'm thinking knight b6. So if knight b6, king h3, knight c4, and now we have a centralized knight really strong. Or potentially knight f6 might be playable too. Knight f6 might be playable. Knight f6 too. Those are two ideas. I think knight f6 is more of a threat. Knight f6, f king. King h3, queen g4 check, queen g4 check, and when king went back to g2, yeah. Trying to figure out how we can get our attack breaking through here. I don't know. I kind of like it. I like whatever the king does, he loses, in my opinion, because we end up with this here at the very end. If h3, yeah, I'm thinking knight b6 is the move. I like knight b6. I'm thinking potentially knight e3, knight e3 check. Is that's winning. Then let me see here. I'm thinking something to do with a chat. No, we actually lose material on that line. I'm thinking we play queen. I'm thinking it's queen b1, queen b1 check here. Queen b1 check. Because if we played rook takes f3, and we don't have enough to back anything. We don't have enough attackers. We have to check because our knight guards. So he rotates F3, rotates F3. Well, see if we took and then the rook takes. See, the king could actually move at that point. See, if we played rook takes F3, rook takes F3, queen B1, king to F2, and he's safe at that point. So queen B1, king E3, or king E1. What am I missing here? What am I missing? I'm thinking knight G4 then. Maybe it's knight G4. Right, but Erie, what he'll do is he'll play, if we play queen B1, queen B1 check, queen to E1, excuse me, queen E1 is protected by the knight. We pick up the we actually pick up the knight at that point. If rook G, if in this line it is that this happens, we can actually play rook takes F rook takes F3 at that point. Oops, sorry about that. Forgot to put a 3 there. Okay. I think that's winning if I'm not mistaken at this point. Knight G5. Yeah. Because I'll show you at this point why Erie, it's the queen C1, the rook, yeah. Here. If we played at this point, oops, sorry, wrong spot. If we played here, queen F1, and it guards the knight guards the queen. So if we took here, knight takes, and if rook takes, king takes, and we do pick up a like king F3. We do pick up a pawn. I see what you're saying, but it's not enough to be a win for us, though. So it's not bad. So there we go. Let's solve another one. Sometimes you gotta play positional, huh? It's funny. It's like, really? Yeah. But in the end, it's set up for a tactic. He's up a whole, we'd be up only an exchange, I think, in that line. Let me see here. If rook takes d8, knight takes c2, rook takes f8, check, king takes f8, and probably bishop, and then bishop takes c6, and we pick up a rook in that line. Yeah, we pick up a rook in that line. What can we do here? Huh. I'm liking rook e2. Rook e2 looks interesting. We pick up the queen in that line. I don't think there's any spot. This queen has to move. So rook e2, queen f4. Then you'd have to have e5, queen. Oops, queen takes a4. Yikes. So that's a problem. That is a problem there. So we'd have to check at that point. Ouch. Not good. We have to be careful. We have a piece that's on pre, so. So rook e2, queen f4, knight c3 check. King b2. Trying to see that. I think the queen's the only spot that's the problem. Queen e2, queen f4, knight c3. Oh, knight after the king goes to b2. Knight e2. No, we don't have knight e2 because the rook's there. We do have queen. Nope, we don't have queen there either. Do you have any ideas there? you have any ideas, Economy? Or play the grub? Just gotta check one thing out. Make sure the stream's okay. Make sure it's still streaming. So you feel like rookie? What does Rook D4? Yeah, what's the line for Rook D4? You have to always think, what is your opponent's best move? What he could do actually on D4, Rook D4, he could play C3, and that attacks your knight. I mean your rook. So maybe he just plain old trying to think here. So rook say rook D4. B takes A4. And I think he's safe at that point. I think that's what he would play. B takes A4. So rook D2, queen takes D2, if queen F4. rook f4, the queen would take your rook at that point. I mean, the bishop or queen would take your rook. Trying to see, do we have anything that my only problem with queen h3 is he potentially could b takes a 4. And we're kind of up a creek without a paddle at that point. I guess we could take with our rook, couldn't we? And then if the knight tried to intercept, rook took. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So queen h3, maybe c4. Maybe c4 could actually be played at that point. Okay, takes b. Let me see. Rook takes. Oops, sorry. I have to copy this and. Hold on here. Copy. Hold on. Give me a second. Rook, queen b. It takes b. Rook takes a4, and then c3 potentially. C3 would potentially be a playable idea on that line. And if I know what you're thinking, bishop a5, but then queen to b2, and I think he holds. Rook e2, queen f4. Knight c3 check, king b2. Knight d5. Queen c4. Let's try here. So check. I'm curious on the continuation though, if I missed something. Let me see here. Here. So e4. So e4 is the move. So e4. Maybe 8. To draw. Okay. Hey, sometimes it's enough to win a tournament. I don't pass up on draws sometimes if it's enough to get you into the semifinals. Ooh, nice. Hey, you know what? That's important. Hey, you got it. That's what matters right there. Let's see here. So rook f7. Rook f7. What does he play? Nice. Oh, as the SEALs say, it pays to be a winner. For sure. Queen takes there. I'm thinking about something like that. Do you have a line for that economy? What to play after rook f7? Do you have a line? Am I on the right track with queen takes c3, c6? So knight a3 check. I mean bishop a3 check, knight takes a3. No, we're too passive if we play that. Aren't we? We're too passive, I think. I think that would be. I think we would, because our idea. I know what your idea is, c6, but we don't have anything that's protecting the dark square bishop, so that's kind of a problem piece for us right there. If we had something that was protecting the dark square bishop, we potentially could win the queen in that line. So it would potentially be winnable, but we don't have really anything protecting it after we play c6. So that's the only sitch. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm looking at queen e2, like what you're saying, economy. I think that leads to a forced mate. Yeah. Bishop a3. Knight takes a3, queen takes. Bishop, I believe, I'm thinking it's, would bishop at a3 be an idea too? Yeah, but if we played rook takes b2, couldn't he play knight takes b2, and then if we tried bishop a3 at that point, he potentially could go king to d2, and I think he gets out of the net. Yeah. Oh, I gotcha. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I missed that. That's, yeah. You win the queen. Yep. You get that for sure. That's a win of a queen. Gotta love it. I love it when a plan comes together, as Hannibal Smith would say. Ooh, let me see. Let's see. Check. Yeah. Right on in. Okay. Dokie. Oh, it's protected by the knight. Darn it. And then, no. Drat. I was too hasty on that. That was a gimme right there. Sorry about that. I got a little too happy-go-lucky there. I forgot that was protected. That's my fault there. Okay, bishop takes d2. C takes d2. No, if we did that, he could actually potentially close to checkmate us. So bishop takes d2. C takes d2. King not d3. Knight e3. King e4. Knight d1. King f4. King I think we win in that line. Let me see. Let's see. Hold on. King, not king e4. King f4. Sorry, king f4. Knight d1. King takes b4. King takes g4. King takes a3. I'm thinking that we win in that line. Yeah. Yeah, I'm liking if we play e takes d5, queen queen e8 loses to bishop f or e6. So Only stitch I see. E takes d5 is queen takes d5. If king see, where would the king want to go? King f6. Yeah, I'm gonna take the. Oh, the rook takes. Interesting. Huh. Interesting there. I think we seal everything up if we play king f6. If queen f8 check, rook f7, rook d6, bishop e6, queen takes a1 or a8, I believe. I'm thinking, huh? Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, I think we're kind of up a creek now with out of paddle in that one. Drat. What did he do? Let's see now. If we go king f4, he's got queen d6, king e3, rook e5, king f2, rook takes, e, queen, potentially could take a pawn. Well, huh. I don't know if it loses. I think we're up 2 rooks and a bishop in that line. If king e4, queen e8 check, king takes d5, queen takes e2, and then we have bishop. I hate when that happens. Stop. I gotta quit it. Bishop d7 in that line. I think we're good to go at that point. Well, maybe, because he does have a check, doesn't he? So potentially bishop, but not d7, b7. Sorry. Copy. Bishop, not d7, b7. Oh, we have king e6. Hey guys, we forgot some. King e6 is an idea. King e6. If queen d6, king f2. I mean king f7. And we're good to go. Oh, it does? I don't think it does. I think it wins. I think it actually wins in that line. I think King E6 is actually winning. I believe King E6 is winning. Wins. It's not winning? Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, there, and there. Okay, yeah, that does mate. Okay. So that's not the right move. Let's see. King E4. Which one's better then? King E4? Because we really only have three moves we can go to: King E6, King E6, or King F4, or King E4. What are you thinking, Economy? Yeah, King E4. Okay. I was thinking that too. Because we actually are up a whole exchange in that line. Actually, and a whole piece and a pawn. So yeah, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, takes here, 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 there. Um, Bishop B7 because this protects the bishop. So if the queen comes and checks, King E6. This is protected by that. So the queen has to go to C3, and now the rook can actually get involved. Rook D7 can actually get involved at this point, and then we double up our rooks, and now we're the one who's saying, "Really? Did you really think you were going to get something out of that position?" He says, "We're here to play now. We have a bishop. We have a bishop and an extra pawn. What are you going to do about that? You know what? You may have a queen. We have three pieces. Three pieces are enough to mate your king. So now you have to watch to make sure your king doesn't get back rank mated with our rooks and our bishops." So it's kind of like saying, we're here to play now. Let me see here. Bishop F3. Bishop F3 maybe. Huh. That covers H5, so that allows our knight to kind of get a little bit of its power back. It covers H5. Yeah, I'm looking on a line for, let's see, Bishop F3. Let's see here. Let's say Rook G1. Rook G1. F knight G4 check. H takes G4, so we can't play the knight move. We'd basically have to play H5 at that point, and then see if we couldn't double or triple attack our. We'd probably have to go after the H4 pawn. Probably best move after bishop F3, rook G1. Knight H5 would probably be best. If C5, we'll just say play C5. Knight takes F4. Now we have a 3 attacking piece on that, so maybe knight E4. I'm thinking knight E4 if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. Bishop F3. If rook G1, knight F4. Knight E4. Knight E4, I believe, wins on the spot. Knight E4 attacks the queen. It threatens to basically cause some damage, infiltration damage. The rook's on G1 though, so here we can't. We wouldn't be able to take. The rook's on G1. I'm thinking that that's the right move. So rook G1. Knight to E4 is best. King has to move, then we check. Yeah, I'm hoping this is right, because let me see, knight E4, queen F5. Let me see, knight E4, queen F5, G6, queen F. Maybe I'm missing something. I guess we could just move our king up after that. Yeah, I think we just move king H6 after that move. Abi. Who'd have thunk? Yeah, I think this is mate now. With and then the king has to go to H1, and then you have the old classic mate. It's like a bishop and knight mate type of setup, but you could use a queen doing it too. So it's a fun mate setup. Do 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 do. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that is funny. Actually, we don't get mate on H2. There's no piece attacking it. Yeah, I'm liking the material too. Let's go with it. Smack. When they give us material, we take it, don't we, economy? We're like, yeah, take the material, loving it. Okay. We're probably gonna have to play G3. Do we play G3 or do we play? Can we? Because there's two things. It's there's G3 or F4. What's your guys' flavor? G3 or F4? Well, with G3, the queen is forced to go to H3, and then we're threatening mate. Yeah, F3, and then mate is unstoppable. So if we go H3, queen G3, H3, unstoppable mate in that line. So F4, it feels like it's the only move that's plausible for that. We only have after F4. He can't after F4. He cannot go Queen H. So Queen H3 is impossible at that point. So F4 stops Queen. It blocks, and it allows us to eventually. Then we can actually play Queen G3 at that point. Then Queen G3 for us. D5. Well then, bishop takes D5. Oh, I gotcha. That totally kicks it, doesn't it? That kicks it to a new level. Yep. Let's go G3 on that one. Oops, so it wasn't G3. Let's take a look at that. Let's see why this doesn't, oops, not here. Okay, here. Ah, it's because of that. So if we played here and he plays that, now we have there. Makes sense. Okay. I see the problem now. Drat. You're so close there. Let's kick this up a notch. Let's get our points back. They deprived us of some points. Let's get it back. See, rook f, f1, king, so rook f1, one check, king e7, rook e5, check, king d7, and then bishop so let's see, rook e5, rook e5. Okay, hold on. We are gonna walk him all the way down. We gotta walk him all the way down. Rook d5, not d5, sorry, rook d1, check, king c6, so really, huh. Huh. Okay, let's go over another one. I'll be right back. let's see. See, knight e5. Let's see, knight e5. Knight takes e5. Let me see here. Oh, I got it. Cause that'd be we'd mate with yeah. If he took our knight, we would checkmate him. So line goes. Knight e5. The queen's guarding that, so knight e5. Rook takes e5. Rook takes e5. Queen takes e5. Huh. Probably bishop takes at that point. So then bishop takes f3. If g3. If g3, then bishop takes d1 maybe. Oh, so you're thinking that so knight e5, rook takes e5, bishop takes g3, and then bishop takes rook. I think we're up a whole rook in the other line though, guys. I think in this line we're up a whole rook though, I'm thinking. Are we up a whole? Let me see. Knight f3. Knight f3. Check. Knight knight f3. King King h1. So that doesn't do anything. Well, knight f3 is, I think knight f3 wins. King h, and then we take. Rotates. Yeah. Yeah, I think we are winning in that line. Yeah. All right. Let's see how we doing here. I gotta see. I think we could do one more. Okay, so now we have 3 pieces for the queen. That's enough to win. I'm loving that. So let's take a look to see what do we have for an attack. Let me see here. So c5, c5 check, king, e7, knight, f5 check, king, king d8. I think he gets away. Oh, I think you're right in that. Yeah, I think we get the queen. Let me see, c5. No, let me see. We're trying to work this out. c5. King of e7. Let's do knight f5. Oh, no. Yeah, okay, if we go, so knight f5, check, king e6. So that's not, let's see, king e6. No, we don't have any checks in that line. No. So we have to somehow get our, let's see. He has king e7 though. That's the only sitch I see that we have a problem with. If we only could get him to a light square, we win. It's like, for real. This is like, what are we missing? We once we check on f5, he can flee. Let's see, f6, king there, c5. He takes our knight on f5 though at that point. Oh, I got it. Knight f5 check, king e6, knight d4 check, e takes d4, bishop, no, I don't think that works, huh? 95, okay, 6, knight d4 check, he takes d4, bishop check. No, there's nothing there. Or do we do it afterwards? Trying to see if we can't sacrifice some material. Let's see, knight f5, king e6. So, knight f5, check, king e6. Bishop g7, bishop g7. Queen takes g7, knight d4, check. E takes d4, and then knight takes f4, check. King f5, and then knight takes g2. I believe does that win? I'll have you guys run that through and see if I missed anything there. Did I miss any thing? I'm trying to see if does he have any other line after that. I don't really think he's so. Let me see. What if he doesn't take though? So we have to figure. What if he doesn't take? These are the ones that are kind of pain in the neck sometimes. Ah, come on. Copy. Let's see. Where could the queen actually go after that, though? I think anywhere. Queen e2. I think it's still. I think he's still okay. Yeah, I think this wins. Really? Oh, snap. Drat. Really? Huh. Drat. I thought for sure we had that. Huh. So here. There. Okay. So here. I had to check out and see why didn't the other one work. Was it too soon? Because we calculated that line out. Was it too soon? Let's see here. Oh, he doesn't have. Okay. Ah, darn it. Okay, so he doesn't have to actually take at that point. Okay. So when you play here, though, there, and then we attack it. So if he comes up here, the mate happens. Okay, if he comes up here, the mate happens. So he doesn't have to take. That's the difference. He doesn't have to take at this point. I did not consider that he didn't have to take. Yeah, I didn't figure that because he can actually just move. He's up a whole bishop. Okay, darn it, we were so close there. That was such a close puzzle. Let's make sure we get this one. Let's see here. Knight e5. But we need something. Do we have anything better than knight e5 though? Excuse me. I think that I don't see anything better either. Good job. Let's get some of our points back there. Let me see here. Okay, knight b, knight b2. I mean knight b3. Yeah. So the line. Let me go through this line real quick. Make sure we're not missing anything. Okay. So bishop takes e7. If king takes e7. Why do we do that? Huh. Okay, so it does work. Yep, so we got that. There we go. So bishop takes is the key. There we go. We're taking it to the next level now. Bishop takes e3. If f takes e3. We don't have anything. That's not fun. Not one bit. So that's not, yeah. So let's see if we play bishop takes g2. Do we have anything after bishop takes g2? Okay, bishop takes g2, knight takes g2, rook takes e2. So I think we win in that line. So bishop takes g2, king h2, bishop e5, king g1, and then bishop f3, check. Yeah. So queen takes g4, h takes g4, bishop takes g4. Let's see here. This is an interesting bishop takes the knight. That's right. Bishop takes no, that loses, I believe. Let's see. Bishop takes e3. Queen takes g5. Bishop takes g5. Bishop takes e6. Bishop takes e6. I mean f1. Okay, let's see. Bishop takes knight. Bishop takes e3. Queen takes g5. Bishop takes g5. Queen takes or e3 or e6. Bishop takes. moves, we move. Then we come back, grab the pawn. We come back to h3. Grab h3. I think we're okay in that line. I think we actually are all right. I think we end up a piece if I'm not mistaken. Let's see bishop e3, because you got some of these you have to make sure that the end result is right. Let's see, bishop takes e3, queen takes g5, bishop takes g5, bishop takes e6, bishop takes f1. If bishop d7, bishop could go to either e2 or d3, and we're up a piece in that line. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, wait a second. Do we actually? Because queen actually take at that point. Hold on. Oh boy, this is. I think we. I think I almost made a blunder here. If bishop takes e3, queen takes g2. Queen takes g2 can actually be played in this line. So I think we have to actually play. I think queen takes g4 is forced. Queen takes g4. H takes g4. Bishop takes f1. Boy, let me see. Queen takes g4, h takes g4, bishop takes knight, bishop takes there. See, queen takes g4. We have to calculate this exactly right out to the T. If bishop takes f1, bishop takes e6, bishop takes e3, so here, so bishop takes f1, e6. You're serious? This is kind of like for real. Let's see, f takes. If you guys have any lines, I'm more than happy to take a look. F takes, knight takes f1. We'll try one last one, then I gotta log. One last one. Hold on, wait a second. Did it take away our points? Didn't we get points? Oh yeah, we did. Sorry, we got 3 points. That's funny. That was funny. I was like, huh, I thought we were 33. I was like, we're good. We're good. All's good. All's good. Let me see here. Rook h4 looks interesting. Rook h4 looks interesting. Yeah, I'm liking h4. Yeah, I think you got the line there too. Nice work. That was a pretty quick line right there. H there. So yep. Nice job. Oh. Not right. Not right. Not right. Let me see. What? Is it because of perpetual? Oh, don't tell. Is it? Don't tell me it's that. Oh, wow. Whoa. Okay, here. Let's try one more. Wow. Okay. Righty. Let me see here. Um. The only problem with queen. The only problem with queen e5. Queen e5 is queen f6. And I think at this point we can play rook takes e6 at this point. Yep, that's the move. I remember this one now. We actually win a piece in that line. Oh. No? Really? Let's see, what do we play at this point then? That's different for sure. D6, so if here, oh, Queen G3, okay. Well, if we take here, he takes there. Okay, Queen A4. Then we have that. Rook D7. Okay, now we're threatening there. Okay. Let's try it. We'll get this one right. Let's, okay, so knight F, there, so like, well, if we take the material, we got it, well, we'll end on this positive one. Okay, if we play bishop takes F5, rook takes F5, there's queen H4, G3, knight takes G3, if H takes G3, and we have queen takes G3, check, king H1, and then queen to H2 mate. But let's see here. He could potentially play bishop, bishop takes F5, rook takes F5, queen H4, H3, queen G3, and I don't really see any way for him to win. What do you guys think? I'm thinking bishop, but how do you follow up though? So yeah, but you have to remember bishop takes H2, check. If king takes H2, queen, actually king takes H2, bishop takes F5, rook takes F5, queen, h4, h4 check, and then king would go to g1, and I don't see a continuation. Do you have a continuation for that? I think we have to, I think it has to be this line, one of these lines here, either this one here or this one here. I think it has to be something like that. So let's go with it. Bishop takes. Alrighty. And then the knight. We'll call it on that. We'll go through the entire mating sometimes I dislike when they don't allow you to mate the entire thing. It's kind of like, really? If he comes here, if he goes there, we get checkmate. If he comes here, we have mate. So there's no way to, yeah. Alright. Do you have any questions on any of the puzzles? Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for logging on. You know what? A couple of those puzzles could have went either way, so I don't feel too bad. Some of those are could have like gone either way. So life is about treasuring your victories and learning from your losses. That's the whole thing. The reason we do puzzles is to have fun and improve our chess understanding. So that's the whole point. Remember that mistakes don't define you. It's how you handle the mistakes that define you as a chess player, person, and the profession that you're in. There are no limits, there are plateaus, and you must not stay there. You must go beyond the plateaus that you're at right now and continue to keep striving for greatness. And in a real game situation, so how we handled some of those puzzles would actually win. So those are just strict puzzles, and it's good for us to be able to visualize that. So I consider, even when we get those wrong, I consider it as long as we did our best and we tried our best hard. We actually worked hard, and then we go back over them. You've actually gained something out of that because you didn't go fast. You didn't make a mistake because in your mind you thought you were doing the right path down. So you calculated right, just came out to the wrong conclusion, and then we got to find the right conclusion. So it's like a win-win. You got to use your mind to calculate out a line. We got to find the correct answer. Next time we see that puzzle, we'll get it right. So always think of learning and mistakes as an opportunity to improve. That's how I do it. And it'll help you in all areas, even in your business and your profession or whatever area you're in. That a mistake, as long as you learn from it, but it got to make sure it's a mistake that you want to make mistakes here. That's what I mean, on the computer and on the chessboard, not in the tournament hall. So it's good to find out where your calculation process is kind of maybe, as they say, derailed off where we want to go on this rail, but there's an off ramp and we accidentally went over here when we actually want to go that way. We got to find out what was the thing that made us go this way instead of that way. And that just comes with practice and self-discipline in your studies. And we'll get there. I'm not worried. And we have to keep pushing forward. And remember, like what Yaz or Sarawan said, that every long journey begins with one small step. So every long journey begins with one small step. And we have to remember also what Bruce Lee said, that we have to take what we know and apply and be willing and to do. And sometimes to get that, I always think about when I'm in the gym and working out stuff, that you have to remember that sometimes you're like, oh, it's painful, after a while when you're doing a lot of, arm muscles and all that, and your legs and stuff. But after the ripping is done and then it's healed, your muscle's stronger, you're able to lift more, and you're healthier as a person. So same thing with our mind. Our mind sometimes gets headaches, so that's a sign that we're using our mind. We're making it so that it's more efficient, and when it comes time that we need to look at a position on the board, over the board, we will be ready. So don't fear. Keep pushing forward, and always remember that the Lord's in control. And I always remember in Job that Job said the wisest thing, sometimes the hardest thing: the Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. That was a very wise statement, especially when the situation that Job was in. I don't know if a lot of us could have endured, but he did endure. And in the end, the Lord blessed him twice. He still had to earn it back, though. So it's not like he got an instant restart, like in a lot of different things. You push restart and, the stuff goes back to where it is. He took the resources that were given to him after that, and then he was able to double what he made. But he still had to work the fields and everything to do that. So, you know what? The Lord may bless us with going beyond 2400, but we have to get there. So it's not like it instantly is going to come. We have to work the field, we have to work the problems, and we just have to improve. And we'll do that. Not to worry. But one thing we always have to do to improve is this: hang up our coat first. Remember that? Hang up our hat, hang up our coat. We sit down and study when most won't. We do, and that makes all the difference. Truly it does, my friends. And as Wesley so says, through the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless. And I'll see you guys next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening. Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll strive for that 2400 marker and even beyond, because we're not satisfied with 24. We want to go to 25 and upward all the way, because we're constantly pushing ourselves, making ourselves better, and honoring the Lord. Okay, great job. Go Team Chess Cruncher. Hoorah. Be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.